So guys, Baylor went to Provo, Utah last week. Johnny was out there and fell in double overtime to BYU in the Big 12 after dark game. And according to Johnny, it was a rocket environment there in Mormon country. They stormed the field afterward, and even though they did that, they were actually favored to win. They did what they were supposed to do if you listen to the odds makers. So in this game, Baylor committed 14 penalties. They gave up 4 sacks. They only had 137 passing yards, and it still comes down to double overtime, last play of the game. If you're the Bears, do you take that as a positive or a negative?
Bryce, I think you could take it as both, really.
Okay.
I mean, they showed a lot of perseverance to stay in that game, despite their offensive issues and the penalty issues. A really tough environment, like you mentioned, 63,000 fans. It was packed. They were up for their future Big 12 opponent, and they all stayed to the end. I mean, that Diet Coke caffeine really paid off.
I love the Mormon jokes.
But now it's a great environment, but yeah, obviously Baylor's still a work in progress, especially their offense. I think their defense is still good, very good. They haven't forced the turnovers yet like they did last season. That's one thing. They're working on this jackers and robbers thing they've got going. They still need to improve that, but yeah, offensively, that they've still got a lot of things to iron out.
What do you think, George?
Yeah, I think it's hard to really say that it's a net positive anytime you lose a game, especially if you're a program like Baylor that is, really built up into a team that really expects to win every game that they play, or at least, put themselves in position and maybe not beat themselves in any game that they play. And I think that's probably the most disappointing thing is that, in a lot of ways, yeah, they had, plenty of chances to win that game and they just didn't do it. The penalties, a missed kick, just a lot of things, a lot of mistakes like that. Now, I give them credit, like John said, showing resiliency to stay in a game in a very tough environment. I mean, Provo, Utah has always been a really tough to go play. I mean, a lot of teams have gone in there and with high hopes and come out, very disappointed in the results. So, I think, but I think when you're Baylor and you are the defending Big 12 champion and you're playing a team that's about to come into the Big 12, I think they probably just as much as BYU wanted to make a statement there and, came up short and, really just kind of played a sloppy type of game. And I think I think it's hard to say that that's a net positive.
Yeah. We've all covered a lot of high school football, and in high school football, they typically will a lot of times load up their non-district schedule with really, really tough opponents because they want to, the better teams, at least, they want to challenge themselves, expose their weaknesses. In college football, they don't do that as much just because, they're trying to play for like spots in playoffs, and wins and losses really play a lot into that. But I do feel like this is a game that essentially exposed some things for Baylor that they do need to clean up. And so I do think there are glass half full, glass half empty kind of ways to look at all of this. John, you and I were talking earlier this week, and it is kind of interesting that basically their last 3 or 4 games against pretty good opponents, they haven't exactly just lit the world on fire offensively, So this one was 26-20 BYU in double overtime. The Ole Miss game, which they won, and the Oklahoma State game in the Big 12 championship, both low-scoring games.
Right.
And so I feel like that's actually part of their identity. This is not Art Briles' Baylor Bears here, guys. This is a grinded out kind of team.
Yeah, especially when there's 2 really good defenses involved. I think Coach Aranda. He's a defensive coach. That's his background. I think he likes to play it kind of conservative offensively. Keep it, just low scoring. Don't take too many risks. I thought they should have tried maybe a couple deep shots. Of course, now Monterey Baldwin is hobbled.
Mhm.
So, he really wasn't available for long shots, apparently. But they still have some other guys. And I was a little surprised because I think Baylor's got good speed. But yeah, when they get into a defensive battle like that, I just don't think they like to take too many chances offensively.
Yeah, no doubt.